Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Apriem Financial Cents. In this episode, we're going to review a clip from one of our previous educational webinars titled A New Generation of Advising. Now, during the course of this presentation, we discussed the differences between a Robo-Advisor, full wealth management services, and then a hybrid service or solution that's right in between that we call Foundational Asset Management, or FAM. Now, throughout the course of the presentation, we discussed 3 different case studies to give you an idea of who each of these services is most appropriate for. And so you'll hear us referring to those different case studies during the course of this clip. Go ahead and watch.
What we've come forward with at Apriem, as Kelly was mentioning, we call it FAM, or Foundational Asset Management. And this is going to have some elements of what we talked about, where there's an automated investment piece to the puzzle to try to keep the costs low for someone like Tim and Beth. But most importantly, though, we take that minimum requirement to something more reasonable for them, to give them some encouragement, get them engaged with a firm like ours, because it's about serve first and sell second. I say that quite a bit around here, and the Apriem team also believes in that, that we want to get out and help more people. And so what we've devised and come up with here is an approach where they have access to our certified financial planners on staff, and that they're going to be able to participate in 2 of these planning meetings every year. And we sure hope that someone in Beth's shoes takes advantage of that, because for a reasonable cost, we believe they can get some quality time and advice from these CFP professionals that are on our Apriem team. And then that last piece there is the creation of the foundational financial plan. That is going to involve a lot of goal-based approaches. And someone in Tim and Beth's shoes many times is looking for, as Josh said, what happens as we build our family? Maybe we have a second child. What happens if our job relocates us? What happens if we want to buy a home in this kind of market? Can we afford it? There's a lot of goal-based items that come up in their conversation from what we've seen, and they certainly can benefit from an approach like this.
Absolutely. You know, when I started at Apriem at the end of 2018, Harmon Kong, one of the co-founders here at Apriem, had told me very early on that one of his goals moving forward was to make sure that everyone has access to a financial plan, regardless of what stage of your life you're in. And that he was really focused on trying to find a way we can serve that need and bring this need to the table. And that has been one of the driving forces for the creation of FAM. How can we get financial plans out there for more and more individuals, regardless of your asset size? And so I think that foundational asset management has really been one of those pieces that's been created to really help serve this purpose. So we talked about 3 real different types of options for these different stages of life. And I think I'm really hoping that everybody that's on the call is seeing how and why each of these different types of platforms is relevant based on which stage of your life you're in.
First one, as you can see in this column, the Robo-Advisor. We talked about Nick and his situation, which might make sense for him. There is that risk tolerance analysis that's offered to him, and the other service offerings there. But for Nick, it's going to be very much automated, software-based, and some questions that we pose to him based on his responses. That's what the investment piece will be allocated for him. And then to the right of that, our FAM approach will have an element of that as well. But there is going to be that interaction with the CFP professional. And I think that's what stands out and differentiates and bridges the gap between what's on that right-hand side in wealth management. A lot of our clients have experienced that service personally for them. But again, to bridge the gap between the Robo-Advisor and what the Apriem client base has experienced so far, that's what this FAM is, and that's what we're trying to achieve and share with you today. The investment management line there talks about passive versus active. And so the passive, if you remember, is the investment into the broad stock market, for example, perhaps through a handful of different diversified investment funds, versus an active approach that'll go out there, pick and select individual companies, for example, shares for the clients to own in their portfolio. And then that rebalancing right there is going to be automated for the Robo-Advisor approach and for FAM, because remember, we're trying to help them accumulate and get on a disciplined program, especially for the FAM clients, and then add that level of additional services with the CFP professional. Tax loss harvesting, as Josh covered very well, right? It's an automated process for the Robo-Advisor and for FAM, because at that stage, automated actually works very well. However, I think for the FAM client, if there was something specific, perhaps that would come up in those planning meetings, they can discuss that. However, the goal of FAM is to, again, keep them on a great goal-based approach, keep them on track, and provide them with some check-ins throughout the year. And it says strategic at the far right for the wealth management piece, because many times our clients, and with specialists, as we talked about, we might be with them at their tax appointment for the year in the CPA's office, and something might come up, and the CPA will advise to sell or buy a position for their tax benefit, right? Not in a retirement account, but in a non-retirement account. And that's where an example perhaps of strategic tax loss harvesting could come into play.
I'll finish this up here. So then we get into advisor access. So as far as the Robo-Advisor goes, everything is all automated. And if you went to the website, if you could track down a phone number and you call that number, they'll be able to help you with something like, hey, I've been locked out of my account, or maybe I'm having, trouble moving funds over, but there will be no investment advice offered. Whereas with you move down the line, FAM at least gives you 2 calls per year. So we get this call bank where we can connect with a CFP, a certified financial planner, at least 2 times per year. And really, when we think about those shoes, oftentimes we just need the little nudges to keep us on track, right? There's not a whole lot that's happening, right? Here's my savings plan, here's my investment plan, here's my goals, right? Maybe once every 6 months or so, are we on track? Whereas on the full service wealth management side of things, there's much more questions and concerns and things that are happening on a frequent daily basis, and the advisor access there is unlimited. And so for those of you who are existing clients of Apriem, I hope you're enjoying your unlimited access to your advisors and the rest of your Apriem family here and that team. When it gets into financial planning, the Robo-Advisor, no planning is going to be included. FAM, we get our foundational plan. It's very goals-based, goals-oriented. Of course, we have access to that on the full wealth management side of things. But if we look at the next category there, the advanced planning is included in the full service wealth management side of things. So those things like selling the house, or dealing with complicated tax issues, or looking at the estate planning and how things would distribute to the next generation. There's all sorts of advanced planning topics and ideas that can come out that can be very important over the long run of being efficient throughout the course of our retirement. And then reviews. With both the Robo-Advisor and the FAM side of things, there's not going to be any kind of regular reviews of the portfolio that are happening, whereas with full service wealth management, it is more important, especially with the active management piece of the portfolio, that you're meeting on a more regular basis, at least quarterly or more, where some folks choose not to meet that frequently, which is okay. And as you can see at the very bottom there, I think it's very important we don't just breeze over this. Fees are important, right? And it's important to understand the different levels and why there's different varying fees between them. The Robo-Advisor it's all automated. We get it in there, it's all automated, and it's very much a do-it-yourself, put it in there, set it and forget it. So the fees are very, very low, inexpensive. FAM, we wanted to try and come up with something that is affordable for this group, that is also meaningful for Apriem to be able to provide the service that's still needed there. And then with the wealth management side of things, that's going to have the most service and the most interaction, and that's where kind of our fee scale happens there. Well, I hope that you found that information to be helpful, and that you now have a better understanding of the types of individuals that those 3 different services are best suited for. Now, if you'd like to watch the full hour-long presentation, you can do so by going to our website, apriem.com. And on the top, you'll click the tab for resources and go down to educational webinars, where you'll find our full library of educational resources. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.